sleep. Slept pretty good. It's rainy, dreary. Kind of like it. All right, so I'm looking forward to being back on the ground. Mess here. Today's stanza is the 25th stanza, so we've done 25 stanzas. It's pretty good. Trying to see about this shadow. So today's stanza is kind of like a foundation. So it's kind of like everything kind of presented in one stanza. So there's a lot to it. We'll sit with it. I'll go over it once I get myself a little bit more squared away here. It's worth talking about this for a moment. When you're finding comfort, okay, when you get set, you want to lean into comfort. And when you lean into comfort over and over and over again, you'll become more familiar with what cues you to comfort. So is the cue more external? Is it for PTSD sufferers, sometimes they have to organize their external space in order to kind of prevent any kind of triggering or discomfort. So having a back to a door or a window, certain levels of light, sound, etc., etc. So when you're moving towards comfort, there's the external part. And then there's the internal part, which deals with, your body, what your body says to you and what your body kind of needs to kind of start to settle. So for me, it's jaw. I typically have a clenched jaw, so it's a relaxation at the jaw. There's a core aspect. I'm almost always kind of sucking my belly in, so just relaxation there. Let's see, what else? What are some other cues? I'm always aware of my left foot and how my left foot is kind of underneath me, because if it's underneath me in a way that's too pressurized, it starts to hurt later. There's also my right groin. My right groin has been injured since 2002. It's not a constant injury. It's just an area that shows up if I'm not mindful of it. So those are my main cues, and so that's what cues me to comfort. If I can kind of square away those things, then I'm pretty good. I can sit for a while. And so what you want to be doing is you want to be thinking about that every time you sit as well. What are the cues that my body is giving me? And when I pay attention to them, I'll remember them. So that's kind of step one. Let's read the stanza here. The 25th stanza is, to practice properly the art of peace, you must calm the spirit and return to source. Cleanse the body and spirit by removing all malice, selfishness, and desire. Be ever grateful for the gifts received from the universe, your family, Mother Nature, and your fellow human beings. So, calm the spirit, return to the source. Present moment. Get to the present moment. Cleanse the body and spirit by removing all malice, selfishness, and desire. Cleansing the body is really has to do with consumption, and for me, it's something that I'm always at the edge of. I have an addictive personality, and so if I like something, like to consume something, I'll do it on a regular basis, and I'll do it to excess. So it's food, alcohol, cannabis, just you can consume it, and I like it. Cigars, So cleanse the body is kind of something that I'm always kind of back and forth on. If there's any one place I'd really like to put more attention, it would be to cleanse the body. But, and this is where the second part comes in, removing malice, selfishness, and desire. Cleanse the body and spirit, right? So, malice, there's not a lot of malice inside of me, I would say that. And I don't know if there's that much selfishness. I would say there is, and I think selfishness has a little bit to do with consumption. But I feel that I've balanced my life pretty well in the context of, you know, this is for me, this is for others. I don't, I would not say selfishness is like something that requires that much focus. My wife would maybe say different. Desire. So desire is a big one also for me. I think there's a lot of association with happiness and kind of more growth financially, and what I can, as things evolve and as all my projects evolve, there is a desire for more. There's a desire for more feelings in my body. There's a desire for more experiences. There's a desire for more authority, influence. So desire is something that I'm always paying attention to. I think because there's not a lot of malice inside of me, that I'm in a better position than I would be if say, for example, I was still in the mindset of my 20s. So that's an area that I'm very attuned to, but I wouldn't say it's a hard spot. And then be ever grateful for the gifts received from the universe, your family, Mother Nature, and your fellow human beings. I feel very close to this reality. I experience gratitude on a very regular basis. I spend a lot of the day in a space of gratitude. So I would say, if I was going to kind of check myself off on this kind of series, there's some areas that I definitely need to work on. But for the most part, I think, and here's why. So the reason why these are these things that you need to kind of have squared away is because they make you really, really strong. Like if you're squared away, according to the 25th stanza, you're incredibly strong and resilient. And so what he's saying is that these things facilitate the mindset and the framework for really sustained long-term strength, resiliency. And that's like, in his mind, the art of peace is a peaceful warrior. And so in my mind as well, it's walking into the battle. It's walking into the fight without any weapons, without any armor, with nothing, and just literally being a force to be reckoned with, because all the typical things that create power are not where that warrior's power comes from. And that's really significant. So typically power is associated with other things, and those things have really powerful capabilities, but they also have very, very deeply seated weaknesses. And what the art of peace articulates is a kind of a shift away from those things that create power, and a pulling out of the power from within. And that level of power is more powerful than any conceivable other form. And an example of this is, there's a story of a sensei walking up to or being challenged by another samurai warrior. And the whole idea behind samurai was that you could position your mind, body, and spirit in such a way that you would destroy your opponent in one stroke. And it would happen so fast that there would be no room for error. It's very much like it's kind of like a golf swing, right? It's perfect. The moment's perfect. The speed's perfect. The placement is perfect. It's just a perfect thing. So it's very precise. And so what would happen is two samurai warriors would, come onto the field of battle. They would meet, they'd stare each other down, and they'd move on each other. And in that moment, there would be a clash, and either the sword would strike true, someone would die, or there would be a glancing blow and they'd restart. So it's this constant. It's almost like a standoff or a duel, right, with pistols. But instead of the pistol or the firearm being the weapon, the entire being is the weapon, and the speed, and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, there's a story that O-sensei came onto the battlefield with this other samurai, and he was completely still, and the other samurai recognized immediately that there was no place for him to strike that O-sensei wouldn't already know in him, and he would literally just fall into the kind of the void of O-sensei's kind of spaciousness. He's so big, so calm, so precise, so aware that there was no weakness. And it's kind of hard to understand that, because you kind of have to be in the mindset to kind of recognize how the other samurai knew that he had to surrender. But he just knew, and that was a famous story that, he was old at the time. He walks onto the battlefield. This other samurai is kind of there, and instead of fighting, he just submitted. And he's like, "You're the master. Can't mess with you." And you can kind of get that. You kind of get that with other people. Like if you ever have been around someone whose kind of countenance and demeanor is just rock solid stable, and no matter what you do, you can't kind of mess that person up or get them kind of off their game. So I guess you gotta see that in sports. So anyway, that's 25, and 25, it's interesting. All right, so let's practice. I've been looking forward to just the seated practice. As the sound of the bell diminishes, pick a sense, light and shadow, sound, locations, distance. Touch offers temperature and awareness of breeze or movement or air, pressure. Smell offers a hint of aroma or just awareness of clean air. Taste. Not only taste, but also sensations in the mouth, what kind of qualities the mouth is experiencing: moisture, taste, textures. Get to your ground. So your ground is what's beneath you. It's how your legs are organized underneath you. You could even take ground all the way down, right? You could go from the ground of what you're sitting on down to the structure of the building that you're in, down beneath the structure of your building into the earth. You can imagine it all the way down to the core of the planet. Then situate your awareness on the base of your spine. So the base of your spine is where you start to build your alignment. So your ground is what your alignment is built upon, but your alignment itself is built through the spine, and that begins at the pelvis. You can ping this area, you can move this area, you can do whatever you need to do to kind of get some feedback that gives you an idea of, is this balanced, is this comfortable? Once you've established that, move up into your core, then think building, right? So you're not just going through, you're building your alignment step by step, cultivating this sense of engagement, interaction with, participation with the alignment of your body. From pelvis goes to core, then goes to heart space. Now, be mindful of heart space, any kind of rounded shoulders. You just want to notice that. Pull the shoulders back and down, let the heart lift. Shoulders back and down, heart lifts. There should be a sense of kind of engagement. It's kind of an alertness up. From there, go to the throat space, which also includes the jaw. Not a hard pulling on the body, but just an alert uprightness. Now, top of the head. Top of the head is the whole, kind of feeling the whole thing, the whole spine. Now you can imagine, all the way down into the earth and then coming up right under your rear, then coming up right into the pelvis, and then you've built your pelvis on solid ground and you built your spine on solid ground. It's very participatory. It doesn't just happen. And every day you do it, you get a little bit more connected to the type of information that's coming from these parts of your body. And the more kind of grounded and rooted you are in the present moment, the more you'll notice. It's very much an accumulation based upon the foundation. The foundation is present tense awareness, and you get to the body, build the body. Now we go into the breath. So at the third bell, breathing. Now, as you breathe, just notice the parts of the breath. You don't have to do anything special, just notice the parts of the breath. There's the inhale. There's the exhale. And there are these pauses or transitions in between. The flow and ease of your breathing is the most noticeable and easy to manipulate engagement with your central nervous system. Your breathing is what your body, your central nervous system, is paying attention to set itself for optimum performance or optimum kind of beingness. So your body does that automatically. And what you do when you meditate, so the third bell is essentially meditation. When you meditate, you're keeping your attention on your breath and ultimately bringing your breath into a space of balance and ease. And so you engaging with your breath, your central nervous system also engaging with your breath, watching the way your breath is moving, signaling through what your breath is doing to the rest of the systems of your body, it's okay to do this or that. So according to your organs, this or that is digest food, move things along. Everything's calm, do your work. Blood pressure, Relax, soften, ease. Muscles, no need to work. Facial muscles, no need to work. Recovery stuff, plenty opportunity here for the body to send recovery tools to certain parts of the body. Now, the non-physical stuff begins to unfurl and open up as well. The energetic stuff, the sacred stuff, the religious stuff. While the central nervous system is working with the body, the spirit also participates. If you've ever prayed, believed in prayer, nothing different. Mindset of kind of divine origins, gratitude, compassion, love, patience. Putting yourself in a mindset like that, essentially putting that out into the world, it's what you do when you meditate. It's third bell. Now, fourth bell reminds us that we're not doing this just to zone out and go to this really special place. But we're doing this to cultivate a relationship with all of the parts of our body so that when we take our lives, when we take ourselves into the world, we bring our best selves to life. So bringing our best selves to life is hard. It's hard to do because life is full. In one way, to be more intentional about bringing our best selves to life is to kind of set a intention, which is a kind of a motivational position to do one thing or another. And so at the 25th stanza, the one thing or another is calming the spirit, returning to the source, cleansing the body and spirit, removing all malice, selfishness, and desire. Is there an aspect of that that's and could be an intention for today, like calming the spirit, returning to the source, really getting to the present moment on a regular basis today? Maybe that's an intention. Cleanse the body and spirit. Cleanse the body. I mean, that's where I'm at in my head right now. I think I've gained the COVID-19. I don't think I've gained 19 pounds, but I've definitely gained, I'm sure I've gained over 10. I know earlier in the year I was down to 193, and I know I'm at probably 206. So I've probably gained 15 pounds. Cleanse the body, right? Remove all malice, selfishness, and desire. I mean, it's really hard. I mean, the malice part, I'm not so. The malice part is I think the easiest part. Like selfishness and desire. I mean, that's where malice comes from, right? Is the selfishness and desire, and just think about the times where you've been like, oh, I wanted to do something, and then something else came up, and you got mad because you couldn't do what you wanted to do. Gratitude, gratitude is an easy one, right? You can be grateful, But if you're not calming the spirit and being present, and you're not cleansing the body of malice, selfishness, and desire, then your gratitude is like a whisper as opposed to a proclamation. It's everything that we do comes from kind of the harmonization of what's inside. And if we don't have harmony inside, just doing one thing or another is going to have a much, much less impact on the world and on yourself. So it's just important to understand that you have to harmonize the parts of you. You can't just do one and then good, check the box. It's a process of harmonizing all the pieces. And I know that sounds daunting, but it's well worth the effort. It's well worth the effort. So, as always, it's wonderful to practice with you. Practice really is the key element here. Cultivating this relationship, it's required that you practice. So, thank you for practicing with me. It makes this so much more enjoyable and worth it to participate with other practitioners and just have it be part of our lives. So thank you for that. Hope you have a great weekend. I'm excited for the weekend. I felt a lot more like, I gotta do the practice this morning. I felt a lot more like, right. So I'm excited for the weekend. Hopefully get a recharge and be back at it on Monday. We've done 25. We've got 75 plus 14. So we've got 89 to go. Let's see if anyone's here to say hi to. And